You are comfortably zoned with the Zigzag Man in Alameda, California, pushing on the doors of life marked pull and fighting the unholy trinity as we go. Big business, organized religion, and government.
You are back with the Zigzag Man, comfortably zoned in Alameda, California. Beautiful San Francisco day, beautiful Alameda day. Our representative of San Francisco is comedian / producer, Griffin Daley. Thanks for joining us, Griff.
Hey, Ralph Sig, how you doing, man? Well, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, life is nice.
We don't care if it's raining in the Bay Area. We just love that, man.
Well, you know, when it rains in the Bay Area after not having rained, when it rains in Northern California, for like almost a year, we've had this horrible drought.
Yeah,
I don't mind walking around in a gray sky. It doesn't rain all the time. It rains once in a while. It stops raining. But we needed it in Northern California. I'm glad we got it.
Yep, we need rain like we need pussy, man. All the time.
Yeah, absolutely. On at least a semi-regular basis. So, you haven't been here before. What I do is I fight the unholy trinity.
Oh, dear.
And that is, as defined by me, the man I love, big business, government, and organized religion. And not just the Catholic Church. They're a big part of it, of course, but they're just a part of it. And the three, the unholy trinity, is really hurting us as a world. And I thought just off the top of your head, before we found out a little bit about you, is there anything that really bugs you today, this week, you know, about any of those three institutions?
They're all assholes, Ralph. But there's nothing you can do about it, man. You know, I've been reading this book about Britain in the 10th century, cresting in the year 900. And it's all about King Alfred and how they were, you know, fighting to get control of the country. And when you look at that, that's a microcosm for the world today. You had in England, right, had all these different little, you could call them kingdoms, but they weren't really kings. They were all these little chieftains running around, you know, all trying to get control. And then one guy comes along with a superior army and kind of gets things in order. It takes them a couple of generations, but then they gradually, you know, eventually get the whole thing settled. And then you get kind of like a semi-peace existing because you've got one guy in control. And it kind of goes against the thinking of today. You know, today everybody's like, you know, they got all this
fighting for power,
and you know. But look, I've been thinking a lot about what our government's been doing the last few years, and it's like they're kind of going along with that whole old-fashioned idea about you know, somebody's got to take control of the whole situation, and only when you've got one government in power, so you've got one like kind of police force, army kind of situation, one kind of military overseer of the planet, then you'll have peace because, you know, no, it's like this whole thing with Putin right now. Who's it going to be? I mean, is Putin going to really challenge the U.S.? I don't think so. Or would we?
No, I don't think so, and I don't think we're going to bomb them. And I think it's all posturing.
Crimea? No, we're not going to go to war with them. You know,
right, but this is posturing for something else, and for whatever it is, that they'll come to an agreement, and they're just putting their feathers up, and now we're throwing boats out that way. Ships are headed that way as we speak. So I'm sure with negotiation it will be settled. You know, it's been my theory that comedians are sociologists and they look at things a little more seriously than their job intend their job description of making people laugh. Because to make people laugh, you have to find out what is inside of people and what their fears are and what their hopes are and their aspirations.
Yeah, sick, right? Yeah.
Yeah. When did you first decide that, boy, this is going to be for me, because you're good at it and you have no stage fright whatsoever? You're up there. Was it always that way? Did you start in Britain and come here, or did you come over here and start doing it over here?
I only started 5 years ago. I'm coming up for my 5-year anniversary. Well, let me just give you actually, let me just go back a bit. I actually was on stage when I was 10 years old, and that was back in England. I was on vacation at some seaside place, and back then they used to have these variety shows. TV was kind of getting started, but in England it wasn't really very big right at that point, like 1959, 1960. And so I was at this, and they had like these huge auditoriums, like, you know, you'd be like 1,000 people in the place. And they had like a little orchestra, maybe 20 guys, like a mini orchestra. And what they had was, they had these things where they get all the kids to come up and do stuff. And they said, well, let's have five kids come up. And what you had to do was you had to conduct the orchestra for a few minutes. And these other kids were kind of lame, but when I got up there, I realized that if you point the baton at the guy hitting the cymbals, he'll hit the cymbal. And if you pointing at the guy on the bass drum, he'll hit the bass drum. So I got these guys going, you know, and I really got the whole thing rattling around, you know. It was, people were laughing their asses off. And I just so loved that, man, you know. And do you know what happened to me, Ralph? The next day, I jump in the sea, where I think it's, you know, off the wall of the little like lagoon thing that's going around. There's a concrete wall there.
Right.
I'm standing there with my cousin, right? I said, "Come on, let's jump in." He said, "No, it's too deep." I said, "No, look at that guy out there. He's standing up, it's only knee deep." I said, "Come on, jump in." And he said, "No, it's too deep." And so I jumped in. Of course, I go down like 8 feet. The guy was standing on like a rock or something. I didn't realize. I'm an idiot, you know. So I jump in. I go down. Anyway, I drown. I came up like a couple of times, tried to get a mouthful of air, and I got like half a lungful of water every time. So I go down, I sink to the bottom, I pass out, I black out. I know I'm dying. Do you know what happens at that moment when you die? Something comes on.
You go through. Is there a light that comes on, a white light?
Let me just tell you what. At the moment that you realize that you're passing out, you're gonna die. I'm lying on the sand at the bottom, and I'm being washed back and forth by the waves. And something happens inside you that I don't know what it is. I can say it's a voice, but it's not audible. It's not a voice. You get the message that it's okay, you're coming home. And I went to that message. I just gave up. And that next thing I know, someone's pumping water out of me. I'm lying on the concrete, and I'm vomiting water.
Right.
My cousin says, "Hey, Griffin, we thought you were dead." I said, "I was." He said, "You've been unconscious for like 2 or 3 minutes." I said, "Yeah." You've been under the water 2 or 3 minutes. I said, "Yeah, I was dead. I won't tell you what happened when I was dead. Not right now." But what happened after that was, you know, I turned around. He said, that man, he saved you. He pulled you out. And I looked around. I said, "What man?" He said, "Well, that man." He turned around. The guy was gone. I don't know what happened to the guy, but I really wanted to say thank you to him, you know.
Right.
Anyway, dude, that sounds like bullshit, but that's true. And
yeah, no, it doesn't. It's what you experienced, and it's not bullshit. And I appreciate you sharing it.
Anyway, what happened?
How'd you get?
Let me go back to the story just for a minute.
Sure.
I told my grandmother. I was with my grandmother, and I told my parents a couple of days later when I saw my dad. And they were, yeah, you know. I said, "Well, I really like being on stage, Dad. It was great. You know, my dad fucking freaked out on me." Sorry, are we supposed to swear on here? Anyway, he freaks out on me, and, you know, anyway, that whole episode killed what was happening. What I wanted to do was I wanted to go on stage the next night, you know, but they kind of freaked me out about it. Anyway, I came back to it 5 years ago.
All right. Well, I'm glad, and I'm glad you came back on stage. And tell me about juggling two careers, because you produce rooms in San Francisco. You produce comedy rooms, and you also perform. So you've got a full plate. Tell me about the two rooms you produce.
Well,
this is in San Francisco, California.
I'm also an antique dealer, treasure hunter.
Oh, really?
Which is how I actually.
Okay, so when it said treasure hunter on your Facebook description, I pictured a guy on the beach with a
treasure hunters
with a Geiger counter walking around the beach, enjoying the sunshine and picking up some jewelry every now and again. But you're an antique dealer. Do you have a place in San Francisco?
No, I have a store in San Rafael.
Wow. All right. And you
San Francisco years ago, but now we're in San Rafael.
All right. So you're always going from time you wake up to time you go.
Even in the morning until we pass out sometime around midnight, you know.
All right. Now tell me about again, if you would, the two rooms you have. When the comedians, when your next show is, so we could give you plenty of exposure.
Yeah, I got a room in San Francisco. It's called Melt Cafe, M-E-L-T, and that's to do with fondues, melted cheese. Right? Okay. Anyway, that's at 700 Columbus. It's every single Monday night.
And that's in North Beach, the North Beach part of San Francisco, for those of you who are from out of town, right?
It's a couple of blocks up from the famous Cobb's Comedy Club, which is fantastic. And we consider it to be a workout room, you know, where comics with some experience can go and do like 10-minute sets and whatever. We're coming up for our anniversary.
Comics on the way up, showcase type, but you always get a good show. You always get experience. Yeah. Comics, and they're trying hard for you. You have another room as well in the Richmond. Am I correct about that?
No, I don't. Where'd you get that? I go out there and work with. I do some of Danny Deckey's shows in the Richmond. He has a few shows out there, and I go out and do his shows whenever I can. You know. Well, I just produced a show in San Rafael at the Phoenix nightclub. It's a supper that opened about a year ago. Beautiful location, beautiful club. For a nightclub, the food is really good, which is a huge surprise to everybody. But it's a very cool club with great, you know, sound systems and everything. I produced a show there a couple of weeks back on Sunday. I don't have immediate plans to do another one, but they want me to do another one, so probably in a few years.
I hope you'll keep in touch with this show, and when you do, you'll come on and tell us what's happening, and be a regular contributor. You're a cool guy, and you got it right on the ball.
Right, man. Hey, listen, I just want to say something about Melt Cafe. We've got our 2-year anniversary coming up on April 7th, and we have the fantastic Marga Gomez coming in to headline the show. She'll be off on a tour of Europe later in the month, but on April 7th she'll be at our place. She's headlining. It's going to be a free show, and we've got Kate Willett there, Mean Dave, a couple of really good newcomers who've only been doing it for a year or two.
You know, coincidentally, Mean Dave is going to be in the next segment of this show.
Who is?
Mean Dave, who is...
I love Dave. He's fantastic.
He's a fantastic, real person, and I'm happy to know him as a friend. We did podcasts together at FCC. Oh, you Not did? So Free. Cool. Yeah, Not So Free Radio, and we both experienced the same cretin along the way to deal with, and so we have a lot in common there. But notwithstanding, Dave is a terrific guy, and So, hey, would you?
Those two old bastards.
Would you know that you were very appreciated here, and I want you to come back. And anytime you have anything to get the word out about, either your own personal comedy or shows you're producing, I hope you will come back and use this venue as something that can serve you well, because you deserve it.
Fantastic, Ralph. You keep coming to the show. I mean, you love comedy, right? Obviously.
I love comedy. Once or twice in my life I tried it.
Oh, did you?
God knows.
And to see you on
speaking,
the mic sometime.
All right. Hey, listen, thanks, man. And I'm going to close the segment by just saying stay tuned. We got Mo coming, Mean Dave, and also Doug Zilla is going to be with us later on. So that's Doug Ferrari. So it's a good listen up when this plays, and you'll get to meet Doug on the air. He's going to be at the Throckmorton. Doug won the San Francisco Comedy Competition way back in the early 80s when it meant something. So stay tuned for that. Hey, man, thanks again.
Thanks, Ralph. See you soon, dude.
All right.
Keep rocking.
Over and out, man.
Keep rocking.
Keep them flying.
Good night.
I am here, back, comfortably zoned. Ralph Tycho, the Zigzag Man, in the 420 studios in Alameda, California, with an old buddy. Welcome back to the show, Mean Dave.
Yeah.
Mean Dave, who isn't. We get into that, talk about names, but welcome back, Dave.
Thank you. Great to be back.
Yeah. What's been going on with you?
A lot of walking.
Yeah, me
lot
too,
of walking since I don't have my license, but I've been doing a lot of grinding shows at all the dive bars, laundromats, and restaurants around the area. I had some sets going on. Like, been doing comedy and looking for a job. Really, one of those two things, and going. I'm the most unanonymous member of NA lately. I don't, I worked my program for stay clean and sober lately, and something I'm sticking with for as long as I see myself being here. And
That's nice. That
it's beyond nice.
It's nice for me to see.
It's also
you.
mean as well. So
okay.
Yeah.
Give me the history of Mean Dave. What you said, your great line, Mean Dave, short.
Oh yeah, I didn't even write this joke. It's because I used the name Mean Dave. I think I might have mentioned this on the last podcast, but it came from a Lee Van Cleef movie when I came up with a band, and we had these alter egos, me and my drummer. And I was as I was coming up with band names, I saw the movie Mean Frank and Crazy Tony, which is a Lee Van Cleef grindhouse movie with Tony LoBianco. And Lee Van Cleef, he wasn't even that mean in the movie. It was really just called Frank and Tony on the label, but it was when they saw the billing, Mean Frank and Crazy Tony. And my drummer's name was Eric, and I've been called mean throughout my life for being somebody who would not be like, as somebody said, I don't have a filter when it comes to talking about the truth as I see it, or honesty, and I really would exploit it a lot for my own, just personal. I use it as a defense mechanism in a lot of ways. And when I started and I was developing my act, I was trying to figure out, it's really more of an attitude type thing. And but people who know me know that I'm a polite person. Well, I was raised with manners. I had a grandmother that beat manners into our heads. I'm part British, and those are some of the most classically dry, mean people with humor.
Right.
But one of the people said on a podcast that was a spinoff of mine back at the FCC Free Radio days was Thomas Mayfield and Jesse Hett, who when they were talking about me, they were saying, well, he's not really that mean. If you know, it's more. It should be short for Meaningful David. And they told me that, and they said, yeah, you could use that in your act if you want. I said, you know what? I fucking hate that. I hate all of the the people trying to whatever this.
Analyze.
Yeah, I'm like, I said, if you want to know why the name sticks, I mean, because people don't know me, to go into comedy, they think you really were born fucking yesterday. And I'm like, to not know me, I'm like, just give it time. That's what I always say. Give it time. The name will fit in your narrow mind of perspective where everything has to, mean something. There are no play on words there. And, and I tried out that joke, and of course it worked. Right. I'm like, because I do speak with meaning, I do like whatever, but the fact that it worked as a joke, I'm like, fuck, great. And I said, oh, well, from now on I'll try. I was like, it worked once, we'll see if it works again. Every time it works.
Right.
It's a joke that works, and every time I bring that joke, I say, yes, Mean Dave is just a nickname. It's short for Meaningful David. And then I say, so fuck off about the name, and then that kind of just punctuates,
Hey, I haven't met, except for Gallagher, a comic who wasn't on some level a sociologist. Mm-hmm. And I consider myself to be that. Yeah,
like you didn't think Gallagher was a sociologist?
No, he chops up vegetables and stuff.
He had his own. There was some intellectual shit in his act back in the day. I loved him when I was like in single digit ages, because he was really. He was that type of comedian.
I use him as an example. There are let's just say, him notwithstanding.
Yeah.
There are very few comedians who to get on stage, you don't have to. You have to be able to see what's going on.
You got to know people. You got to have some sense of people.
What they laugh at, what they respond to,
and your relationship in it, with it.
And from the early days when I started in comedy in the '80s, doing the Zoo, I always gravitated towards political humor and stuff that's going on in the world. And the way I see it, and what I base my podcast on, is that there is an unholy trinity. That is choking we the people, and that's government, big business, and organized religion. And I don't just pick on the Catholic Church when I say organized religion and Holy Trinity, Unholy Trinity, that sort of thing. I don't mean to exclude some of the other, not equally damaging, but damn close on a lot of levels. And Judaism, I make fun of. I'm a cultural Jew, and I know the damage that's involved there. So, what's hitting you this week about the unholy trinity in your life? Where you're going on? Wow, this is bad.
The thing about all those things, first.
Not all of them. Just one thing about anything that's making you crazy go nuts.
Specifically,
because it helps to vent.
Specifically, all of it makes me nuts. But I don't have to be
right.
But I don't. Fact is, right now, and this was something I even said when I was using drugs and alcohol. Because in a lot of ways, I feel like I live in a what is clearly I wouldn't call it a failed experiment. I wouldn't call it. It's definitely. I've said about the culture before, I actually do, when I've been developing this joke that's like, a lot of different parts from various different points that I still have yet to really fully develop, but it's something I've said on stage whenever I feel like I'm in a room that either understands me or gets me or because it's much more of a lot of my ideas. But it's one of the things where I get really annoyed today about people's I don't know what the exact word, but just the hyperbole of people's love for pets, and almost like the deifying of children. Because I was raised in a time when people would still let their kids out in the front yard and not watch them and just feel like the world will take care of them. They'll get bumps, they'll get bruises, they'll go play in the they'll swallow dirt, they'll whatever. And now, there's this hypersensitivity that is more damaging than anything. That it's like life does give you lumps. Life, I felt like if anything, I was kind of. I had the illusion of people that were like trying to shield me from things that actually worse happen, and I didn't have, rather than people that really accepted the world is I envy my friends that I grew up with that had a lot of much more damaged backgrounds of where parents be like, yeah, you got to do this or you're out of the house, or they didn't have any parents or whatever because they adapted to what essentially is can be a cruel world or seemingly cruel world.
So what doesn't kill you makes you strong.
No, and that's funny. I do a joke about that too. About it's not so much what doesn't kill you, as a matter of fact, of you adapt to your surroundings. You have to. That's
right.
That's the law of nature. If I almost feel like in a lot of ways I was confused. I never felt safe anywhere. I was a child of a divorce, a pretty ugly divorce when I was a kid, and I was used as a bargaining chip in a lot of ways from both sides. And where I felt comfortable, I wouldn't get to stay for very long at any given point in time. Right. So I was always outside of my comfort zone, always having to isolate myself, always obsessive over the things because since I can't control the chaos around me, I got to control what little things I can do and whatever. Or I would create these little controlled chaoses for my own amusement because people who don't think I'm mean, my earliest memory as a child, one of my earliest memories that's still as clear as day was when I was told I was only like 3 years old, 2 or 3 years old, but I'm pretty sure it was 3. My mom used to go to these workout rooms. Remember when working out at the aerobics or whatever was like a big deal in the 80s, or this is still the late 70s, and I'm put in this daycare with all goddamn I hated babies. When I was a little child, I hated babies. I used to have these weird fantasies of I'd see a baby, and it depended on the baby too, because it's there were babies that were cool babies. But if babies I didn't think were cool, the same way I don't like people, whatever, if I don't like the look of them or just don't like, the vibe of them or whatever, I would just be like, man, I just wish I could just grab that baby by the arm and I was one of those, that's why I know how, animals can eat their young, because of these primal impulses that I would feel I didn't act on them,
very well, Thank you for not
grabbing a baby's arm and just be spinning it around. I heard about a drunk guy at a park I used to work at who grabbed a duck or a goose by the neck and killed it by breaking its neck by spinning it around above his head like it was a freaking pinwheel, or not a pinwheel, but just like a lasso.
Well, I'm glad you didn't do that.
Yeah, I'm doing the motion right here on the podcast as if the people can see it. But I would have those kinds of these fantasies as a kid of I fucking hate babies and always crying. I'm like, who would have kids? I'm a kid.
Basically, your thing today is overindulgence for kids, or
well, I'll get to that. I'm illustrating the mean part of me of just knowing that I was a mean kid early, not. It was just a hyper awareness and an intelligence of manipulation, all these kinds of things. Well, when I was a kid, I see this baby in this daycare, and this baby just for some reason I just had it in for this baby. I did not like this baby. Of course, it's a white kid, little baby, just happy, pleased as punch to be playing with this toy. All right, and it just sitting there. And I did not like the way this baby looked. Don't know why. And and this bullying. Okay, this is early stages, and it's over. But I'm doing this quietly to myself, and I'm looking at this baby. And I look around or whatever, and I take the toy away from the baby. And the baby started crying, and that made me laugh. That made me, I was just look at that, baby's funny cry. The baby starts crying. I'm just yeah, that's right, bitch, you cry. And then I get taken away from, no, Dave, or you take, so they take the toy away from me, because I'm not trying to play with the toy. I want to make the baby cry. So they give the toy back to the baby. Baby's happy again. They put me on the other side of the room. I wait a little while. Wait till they're not looking. Go over there. I take the toy away from the baby again, second time. I must have done this 3 times to this kid, just to make the kid cry.
This is an early memory.
This is an early memory I had and I remember getting in trouble for it. And that's really the core of what I think a lot of this neuroses that I have. I want to say I've never been a happy child. I was being placated for problems I felt that I probably had from an early age that I don't think anybody. If I thank God I didn't grow up in this day and age, because they would have put me in all kinds of things, put me on all kinds of medications, would have fucked me up even worse. Who knows? Maybe I would be a functioning adult. But the fact being that I've had this early neurosis of not liking people, definitely not trusting adults, and manipulating them, and just the only people I trusted was my mom, my stepdad when he got involved in the picture. and to some degree my sister, my biological sister, and then I have step siblings and everything else, and I have a stepmom, and I love all my family today.
Okay, I'm not licensed in any way to practice psychology.
I had a feeling about that.
Just
I understand.
We've known each other long enough.
But so then to get back to the whole thing that's bothering me.
So I'll just let you talk, and I'll let.
When it comes
good to talk on podcast radio.
I do have a point. So those early memories of knowing like that I had this kind of part of me that if I could get away with it, and I know I can get away with it, or I can at least see maybe some light at the end of the tunnel, get away, I would fuck with something. But I didn't like committing petty crime. I mean, I did that later. But it's like I didn't like doing wrong things unless I felt I could get the end that I was looking for out of it. Or I would do it just to fuck with people's heads. And so today, the thing about it, and I saw a lot of carelessness, even as a child, carelessness with kids. And kids figured shit out on their own. But today, we have people are just saying, blaming education system, or whatever. It's like, no, we have a lack of respect for the education period right now in this age of all the technology and all this other shit.
Well, the truth of the matter is there's no social money available because it's all being spent.
Yeah, and that goes in the systemic.
Right. And you're coming down to two parents, one parent family. If they're together, both of them are working.
Yeah. Well, and that was a lot of the things, people being neglected, whatever. But I mean, people now, they don't necessarily, people do work to some end so that they think they're not neglecting their kids, but the fact being they don't even know their kids.
Yeah.
I mean, this was something that was a problem when I was growing up too. But the thing that I see, that I call it now, is this illusion that we live in a free culture. We don't live in there's nothing free about this. This is basically an outdoor prison made of convenience, of rules that some are the gray area where, you can skirt these, it's a crime if you get caught. And you got to learn the system in order to play the odds of what that is. And definitely, the darker you are, the more the cards are stacked against you. It is, but people who think they live in this free society, and mostly I would say privileged white people or privileged Eurocentric people of color, who accept this I would say the whiteness of things. And it's funny, comedy's made me more of a racist than ever. But in looking at that, why is it that people are so in love with their pets these days? Like more so than they ever. Because I remember my mom is like way so more obsessed about cats today than she ever was when I was a kid.
David, how does that hurt anybody?
Oh, it does. It does, because the reason why. It's a psychological. To me, it's a psychological security blanket that we have these days. I always say people who are so overabundantly, thinking that they're tuned into their pets.
Right.
The reason why, they don't own their own business. They aren't the boss of their own world. They don't have anybody to boss around. The reason why you have a pet, and that why you're so, you think that you love the thing. No, you have something that you feel you are in control of.
Well, certainly not everybody is that way with it.
I don't believe everybody is, but the fact is that your pet has to live within a certain confines of rules as you deem them. Okay, and not like. Or that you think you look at the pet as like some sort of like it loves you, that it's somehow its needs are based around you. We don't live in a free culture. We live in a master-slave relationship of a culture. Okay, our culture is not based on freedom. It's based on needs and rules that are reinforced by fear, dehumanization, and intimidation, and. So that therefore it's like but your basic needs are defined around these rules and are defined around, like, if you don't meet these things, you don't get your needs, okay? Or you have to figure, and then if you meet your needs by any other way outside of these rules, you are now deemed not part of this functioning. You're not a contributing to society, to this whole thing. And the funny thing being that when I say that this master-slave relationship, maybe that's why today people are so in love with their pets, because they have a lot in common with them.
Gotcha.
And that's basically the crux of all that. And then I start bagging on dogs and start bagging on all the other things that involve with it. So.
Gotcha. Dave, what's going on? Give me 2 minutes and we'll wrap it up.
Of what?
What's going on in your life? Where you're appearing next?
Oh, I'm at Cobb's on Sunday, March. What's today? March 1st or 2nd? 2 weeks from tonight, so it's March 16th.
Right.
I'm also, this Tuesday, March 4th, I'm at Sally Tomatoes in Ronner Park. I'm headlining that show. I also run my own shows every first and third Friday at Love at First Slice in Newark. It's a great little venue that I do free comedy shows at.
I've been out there, and
we get some really good talent.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
nice, friendly audience.
Well, you were at Sanctuary Ultra Lounge.
Oh, okay.
That was a different show, and that's actually a room that I coordinate a lot of the people who will produce the shows. I don't produce every Thursday there, but there's a weekly comedy show at Sanctuary Ultra Lounge in Livermore from 7:30 to 9. And that's free also, but that's one that I host probably once or twice a month, and I have a rotating. My friend Victor Pacheco produces every third Thursday of the month, and then I have a rotating list of people to produce other Thursdays that I can't run it myself. But there's always a free comedy show there. I'm basically the guy who coordinates it and hosts and produces it when I can, when I don't have Thursday gigs or places where I'm trying to be on Thursdays. So, and that's pretty much, I think, it as far as the big gigs going on. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Would you stick around? We're going to talk to Doug Ferrari.
Of course.
Beautiful.
Sorry, I'm not mean enough. So.
You're just fine. We'll get a dog for you to strangle him.
I ain't hurting no pets.
Good.
I'd rather hurt the people.
Good.
The owners.
Doug will be with us in just a minute.
Sounds good.
And we're going to take 5 for the cause. You are Comfortably Zoned radio network out of Alameda, California, real close to San Francisco, right over the bridge. And my name is the Zigzag Man. My guest is Mean Dave and Doug Ferrari coming on up.
I am back. I am Ralph Tycho, the Zigzag Man, Alameda, California, Comfortably Zoned. Second guest of the day, Doug Ferrari, Dougzilla. What it is, man?
Hey, great to be with you again, Ralph. You're looking great.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking great. I'm feeling great. I'm 67. How good, how great could I be? It's the maximum I can get out of what I am, which is what it is, and I'm not complaining, but things are what they are.
I saw your podcast with Kerry Snow and Rudy Reber. I put them up on my Facebook page. Make sure you put those things up so people can hear them.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm doing the best to get them out there. I went to a different venue. For a long time, I was at FCC Free Radio in San Francisco, and went out on my own a little bit and have been doing YouTube postings with podcast shows that have a slideshow with them. And the only disadvantage to that is that TuneIn can't pick it up. So I have put the show on Spreaker. Spreaker sends a copy of it each time I post to YouTube. So I'm all over the place. The big advantage is it'll be on TuneIn from here on out. And the disadvantage is you won't get a slideshow, but you could always get a slideshow. What we can't get all the time is Dougzilla. It takes a while to get you back. You had a good time the first time. We talked about the old Holy City Zoo days. Got a story for us from the old days, Holy City Zoo?
Well, I remember the fire marshal shut the show down once because it was over the 75 capacity. And Rebecca just said, is that because, what if we just closed the club down and gave everybody their money back? And the guy goes, guess so. So everyone filed out, got a refund, filed back in, locked the door, did the show.
Beautiful. The fire marshal had gone already?
No, he was supervising the whole thing. Another time it was so full that Warren Spotswood, the MC, passed out on stage unconscious from lack of oxygen, and I had to fill in for him.
Wow.
It was a fun time, but now my home club is the Throckmorton Theater in Mill Valley. I've been working there 9 years, and it's the best audiences, the best theater. It's they just opened 2 new performance spaces. They can do 3 shows at once in that place now.
That's terrific. And you have a show coming up on April 11th?
Yeah, I've done about 80 of the Tuesday night Mark Pitt and Friends. I did November, and then I did a Santa roast at Christmas time with Bob Rubin as Santa. That was pretty off the wall. And then I'll be there March 11 on Tuesday, and then Friday, April 11.
March 11. I thought it was April 11. That's terrific. March 11.
Both.
That's coming right up.
No, it's both, because I play there a lot. So I'm there March 11 on Tuesday, and then my concert is different. It's Friday, April 11, Friday night, and it's called the Doug Ferrari Reunion Show. I Got Myself Back Together. And that's a joke to explain why I haven't been around for a while.
How much?
Well, I went from, I can't believe I was 310. I went to 190, and then now I've had to go back up because 190 was too gaunt. I was looking like my father wearing my clothes in all the pictures. But it's such a relief because the old pictures of me that you can see on Facebook, I look like I look like a float in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. I was bloated up like a poisoned toad. You see me in a leather jacket. I used to say on stage, if you need more leather to cover you than the original cow did, that's a red flag. And I had to fill in
some of the leather with naugahyde to fit you.
Yeah.
Hey, big
well,
guy,
first of all, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to introduce you to my co-host for the day. He's Mean Dave. He's an up-and-coming comedian, and I want you to meet one of the old icons in comedy, Doug Ferrari, Mean Dave.
Hey, Doug.
Hey, Mean Dave. Listen, try to keep it down, you know. Try to keep it down. Stop interrupting so much.
Oh, trust me, I am. Yeah. Ralph keeps me on a short leash over here. So
we got Ralph is Mr. Mellow Zigzag Man, and you got Mean Dave, so you got kind of a good cop, bad cop thing going.
Not really. Not when he's off the thing. You should see this guy when he's not doing his podcast, man. Angry son of a bitch, this guy, Ralph. I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he keeps berating me about this unholy Trinity shit. So
he's got the reserve of menace. I've seen him angry at me, and all the East Coast comes out.
Oh yeah. Actually, John Miller will take care of that real quick.
I don't want to.
Doug, I get angry for the strangest reasons, don't I? I'm a silly old man. Life makes me angry. Give me something about the unholy Trinity that's pissing you off these days. And that it could be the government, it could be big business, or it could be any sort of organized religion.
Okay, well,
for me these days it's the cops.
My pet peeve is always and continues to be these endless drug ads on the news by Big Pharma. They only put them on the news because the news is created to get you all paranoid and depressed, and then the pill ads come on. And, the purple one is bad enough. Cialis is bad enough. Abilify is the worst one on TV. It's like, side effects may include coma or death. Other side effects include dizziness. Go back a minute. Death is not a side effect. That's the whole effect right there. Then they got this one called Zenapro. Then they got a new one called Zenapro with an X for some reason. They all have to sound like Klingon names. And the Zenapro comes out, and I have to warn the men out there, I don't know what it's for, but if the side effects mention bleeding 5 times in 20 seconds, don't take the frickin' pill.
Or bloating. Or mild diarrhea. What in the fuck is mild diarrhea?
That's the old days. Now it's all coma, death, uncontrollable muscle spasms, severe bleeding through the eyeballs. And the weirdest one now are all those androgel products where the guy's supposed to put testosterone on his armpit. Well, the guy doesn't care much about his family because all those ads, all the side effects are, don't let anybody near the applied area. Don't let anybody touch the applied area. because your wife, your wife may get uncontrollable acne. Your boy might develop breasts and early puberty, and the man himself, he could get enlarged, swelling, painful breasts. This guy's willing to sacrifice his whole family to get a boner.
Right. And you really can't blame the man. If you've seen the average family that's going down today.
Just take a Viagra. Don't put something on your armpit that's going to make your daughter grow an arm out of her forehead. Jesus, how bad is that stuff?
What does the FDA do to approve some of these drugs? That's what scares me.
They just say have 5 minutes of side effects. There's more they include, now just to be on the safe side, they include every disease known to man in the warnings. And it's always call your doctor.
Well, let's try to escape the side effects of life the best we can in every way and continue as we've been doing. You moved from San Francisco. You're in Marin now.
Yeah, I moved to San Rafael where the rent was half the price, and I was working on a project up here, and then it's nice to be near the Throckmorton. But I moved up here just in time, Ralph, for them to pass the strongest anti-smoking laws in the country. You can't smoke in public in a park. If you're on the sidewalk, you have to keep walking. I can't smoke in my apartment. I think they're just going to build a big ditch in Marin City and hoard us there with a fan. It's so Marin up here.
Yeah, well, always has been, but things aren't that much different in Alameda where I am. They have non-smoking in front of businesses and what have you, and but not in the park. You can smoke in the park.
Yeah, but if you're just on a sidewalk in the middle of nowhere, there's no businesses, they tell you have to keep walking. I guess they want you to get, if you're going to smoke, you have to get exercise. So they ticket you, and I'm going to start collecting tickets if I can. I want to be the Jesus martyr of smoking in Marin because it's a little bit out of control.
All right. Well, call yourself Jesus, and you could play for the Giants. I know that Mr. Alou did that for many years. So, Doug, tell people how they can get in touch with you on your Facebook or on you got a website going that you want to talk about. So people,
I write jokes for comedians. If anybody's interested in coming up with an act or working together on something, write me on Facebook. I accept all friendship and. Since I'm trying to pad my numbers, I'm 7 away from 4,000, and that's 4,000 people, many of whom I really know, and probably 1,000 of which are cats.
Beautiful. I'll send you a link to the show. You'll put it on there, and 1 billion people will be watching it.
Yeah, and anybody who wants to contact me through Facebook. If not, I guess Google me. I'm very Googleable. But keep your eyes on Facebook. You and I have a lot of Facebook friends. That's putting up your shows, and I'll be putting up information about my shows. It'll be a lot of fun with on April 11. I got Joshua Raoul Brody, the great piano player. He's the musical director.
That's terrific.
And I'm going to be doing sort of my greatest hits and a lot of stuff I used to do over the years.
Doug, I probably didn't give you the proper introduction. You are a comedy icon in San Francisco. You won the comedy competition way back when. And
30 years this year.
Right. And
yeah, that's a long time. Back when it meant something.
Yes, back when it meant something. I was going to say San Francisco was the mecca of comedy. There were a lot of upcoming people in those days. And you made it. So I'm proud of you, Doug. I'm proud you're my friend, and not just my Facebook friend, and you always have a place. Whoop. They're paging Indy. All right, man. You'll come back on a continued basis whenever you have anything going. You just give me a call, and we'll put you on, and love chatting with you.
Or
man.
even when I'm not. And rave about some of your big trilateral commission issues next time, and thanks a lot, Ralph. put this up. Make sure you put this show up on my page.
All right. That sounds great, man.
It's synergy. Okay, bye.
Bye, Chuck. That was Doug Ferrari. And I'm going to close it out with Mean Dave. Pleasure as always. You're a cool guy to hang with. I'm proud of the progress you're making in comedy. And become friends with Doug.
Yeah.
And it'll be super. I'm going to put the link to this on your page as well. And you'll come back as well, huh?
I hope so. I hope to hear what Doug is saying during the conference call next time. So.
Yeah, well, we're going to get you a phone to call in at the same time.
I don't own a phone. I try not to own a phone. Well, I hate phones.
I could hardly blame you, but this conference call would not be made possible without a Mr. Moss.
Smoke Signal podcast.
Yes, we could do that sometime. Or, so a lot of guys get together and meet.
Yeah.
Well, like you and I are doing. So.
Oh, yeah.
All right, man.
Right on, man.
Over and out. I'm going to end like I always do. I'm going to implore people to keep their dreams wet and their humor dry. Keep their kids off the laps of clerics wearing dresses. It's never good for anybody in the family. It spreads to the community in bad ways. And here's something very important. Keep your kids out of recruiting offices. Military recruiters are not good. You will send your child into a military recruiting office, and your child will be returned from the military in a different way, and in a way that isn't positive, because what it's all about is killing, and what it's all about is perpetuating imperialism, and it's bad. Don't have your child be fodder. It's what is known as an economic draft. They're not drafting people, but they're forcing people who are getting out of college and getting out of high school, they can't find meaningful employment, to come in on weekends and be in the reserves, and all of a sudden you're in bumfuck Egypt fighting people you don't have any idea hate you because they don't intrinsically, and you don't intrinsically hate them. It's their governments and our government, and it's bad. So
either that or grow your serial killers organically. You don't need to do it with GMOs, government, mandated organization. You can grow your own serial killer without needing the government to do it for you.
Exactly. So we'll get back. We'll continue to fight the unholy trinity, David.
Yeah. I'll do it my own way.
Beautiful.
Thought power.
And over and out, everybody.